EA Sports. It's in the game.
Get used to that sound, maybe, potentially, because, I mean, if 2020 wasn't wild enough, it's got even wilder for the F1 game. We already had this a month ago. Take-Two were going to buy Codemasters, but now, over the weekend, and starting off this week, we've now got the reports that EA, Electronic Arts, has confirmed it's reached an agreement with the board of Codemasters for the recommended acquisition of the UK-based Dirt and F1 publisher. EA is buying Codemasters. So I think it was roughly about a month ago, we got the news that Take-Two was going to be buying Codemasters for, at the time, I think it was, what was it, £750 million, which is roughly $980 million in a deal that would happen in Q1 of next year. We talked about that already in a separate video, what that might mean for the F1 franchise, for Cody's in general, and a lot of the things that I talked about in that video are very similar now to this with EA. It's the same thing. They're two very big companies. You know, Take-Two are the parent company of Rockstar Games, the guys that make GTA, 2K Games that make the NBA games. So they've got a portfolio, and very much like that, EA have got a portfolio. Obviously, EA are maybe a little bit more well-known to those of you who play sports games. Obviously, they have FIFA, but they also have other games in their repertoire. They don't just make sports games. EA are the parent company of the actual developers DICE that make Battlefield. Obviously, they've got also Star Wars Battlefront now. You've got, you know, Ghost Games in the past, Black Box, Criterion that made Need for Speed games. So EA, they've got a lot under their hood already in terms of developers that they work with, and they kind of work as a publisher basically to publish them under the banner of EA. And it looks like EA wants to do that now with Formula One. So recently, you know, I've been playing some older retro F1 games that were made by EA back in the day, and I thought, oh, you know, we'll go ahead and play some more EA games. I didn't think I meant future F1 games that are going to be now published by EA, but obviously, you know, publishing and making is very different. So, as I said with the Take-Two news, and we're going to discuss in this video what my thoughts are on about EA now taking over the deal. A deal that's worth apparently $1.2 billion. That's what they valued Codemasters at, $1.2 billion US. So, you know, the previous offer was $980 million. Dollars, 750 mil pounds. I don't know what 1.2 billion dollars is in pounds, but it'd be, I don't know, just roughly under maybe 1 billion pounds, maybe something like 900 maybe ish million pounds. In its own statement, EA is said to believe the combination of EA and Codemasters would further enable growth and success for the two companies' popular racing franchises. Now that's interesting, because it says the two companies' popular racing franchises. So it doesn't just mean Codemasters and what they do with F1 and Dirt. They're also alluding to Need for Speed. They own, Codemasters now also own Slightly Mad Studios. So they have another kind of, in a way, another racing arm there. EA, you know, they've been known in the past, as I said, by buying studios and developers. In the past, they have taken some people out of those companies to move them across to other EA projects. So there is, you know, with a phrase like that, there is the worry, you know, could you see some people being taken away from Cody's and put on other franchises, and vice versa? Will we see other people coming from other franchises and going over to Cody's to kind of, you know, try and grow both in different directions? And whether that's a good thing or not, it remains to be seen. But our industry is growing, the racing category is growing, and together we'll be positioned to lead in a new era of racing entertainment. We have admired Codemasters' creative talent, high-quality games for many years. With the full leverage of EA's technology, platform expertise, and global reach, this combination will allow us to grow our existing franchises and deliver a more industry-defining racing experience to a global fan base. So that part is a bit more, you know, promising in terms of using full leverage of EA's tech platform expertise, global reach. It's exactly the kind of things that I'm talking about that could be a very big positive for the F1 game. Bring that global reach, that resource behind to market the game even further, give Codies what they need. Do you need like a, next year after COVID, pisses off, do you need like a new office or whatever? Do you need new employees? Go here, chuck resources. What do you need to develop a new engine or new, more budget, whatever, more people to work on it in a short amount of time, obviously, because it's a year game. There's a few things to be perked up about, but as I said in the Take-Two one, there's also the belief that they won't hold back. They could be a hands-off owner and just be like, right, develop the game, we own you, we publish you, we'll make some profit off you, we'll give you some budget, but that's about it. We're just looking to make a profit off you. I got so excited about that I literally bumped my mic. But you get what I mean. With this, in the same way as the Take-Two reaction, it's the same thing, but with EA, there's that slight bit of even further worry because they've already done it so harshly with FIFA, the way that game stagnated. It does come into your mind. Whatever the case is, this is another bit of big news. Like, this is not going to just not affect the F1 game. Like, I think there's a few people remaining so positive about it's not going to affect things, really. It could really change the course of the F1 game, or it could just be a slight benefit. If you think about it positively, EA, especially actually more so than Take-Two in a way, I think EA are even better than Take-Two when it comes to maybe marketing, games having a global reach. They obviously have such a global reach already with FIFA compared to maybe Take-Two, where they have 2K, but if you go anywhere outside America, no one cares about those games, really, to be honest, in the same way they do with FIFA, whereas FIFA is globally, obviously, heralded and kind of marketed everywhere. Obviously, being the biggest sport, one of the biggest sports in the world, kind of makes sense, but EA has that knowledge and expertise of marketing a game that globally. So in many ways, it could be a positivity like that. The cons are, well, you don't know. You don't know how much they're going to get involved. I've seen a few tweets from, industry people that are saying this, they're buying Codies as a publisher, so there really shouldn't be much change with the game itself, but you just don't know that, and I said that with the Take-Two video. You just don't know. A company like Take-Two, and now a company like EA, you just can't bet on them not getting involved in the development. Like, they will not just be what Koch Media is to Codemasters right now as a publisher. They take care of the, marketing stuff, and that's it. They don't actually do anything with making the game. You can't guarantee that with someone like Take-Two, and you can't guarantee that now with someone like EA, because in the past, they have got involved with other studios they've bought, and worryingly, they've actually run a lot of their studios that they've bought into the ground. There's quite a few studios over the years that I remember that EA have bought, and then effectively they've kind of just been killed off, or, a lot of the staff have been moved to something else, and they've moved the development of that game that they were known for to someone else, and that's basically been... There's a lot of reason to be a little bit worried of the future long term of the F1 game when it comes to EA being too hands-on with it, because right now, and there'll be some people that disagree, but right now I feel Codemasters are doing a top job. The F1 game is in the right direction every year. They're making steps in the right direction in every area of the game, pretty much. They're on the right path. All they need is actually more resource, which obviously could very much happen with EA coming in, as I said, with Take-Two. But even more so, I feel, than with Take-Two, with EA, I've got more of a worry of them getting into it and trying to make it too profitable. But they've bought the F1 game, they bought Codemasters, they bought all the other games that come with it. And they're looking over and going, right, they do a great job. We're going to give them resources. The game's going to get better. And for the first few years, the game generally just might get better and better with this new influx of cash coming in for Codemasters and the F1 game franchise. But then let's go down a few years down the line. Do they start thinking, we need to make more profit margins? The profit margins need to be higher. EA, they're a big company, and we well know. And, I've worked with people from EA, thankfully, with kind of my association with Need for Speed in the EA Game Changers programs, and nothing against any of the people I've worked with, but I'm talking about the higher up. There's a reason why EA and FIFA have such a tricky relationship these days. There's a reason why FIFA is stagnating as a game the last few years, because EA have been rather greedy when it comes to the way they operate Ultimate Team and whatnot. And the worry is, down the line, they look at the F1 game, they've chucked all those resources in to make it better, and now they're like, okay, you know what, now's the time to make it way more profitable and kind of bring back our investments. And so let's do all this other stuff. And the worry is, down the line, in a few years' time, we're going to get so much. There's going to be so many microtransactions, so many DLC things in the game that you just can't even play a normal game. I mean, I joked about and laughed at playing older F1 games where the first 4 tracks are unlocked and then everything else is locked, and you have to play 100 races to go and unlock Monaco. Like, I can laugh at it because I don't actually think it's going to get that bad ever. But it's just, these things come into your mind a little bit. I'm sure they have for all of us. So that's why I feel like it's important for me to say it in a video, just so that also you guys are maybe thinking at home, you're not alone. I am thinking the same thing. It's very tough because, as I said in the Take 2 video, I'm generally very positive as a person on the outlook on everything, basically. So I'm looking at the positives here, but I can agree and I can admit there are some worries, some doubts here. But either way, it's going to be interesting now. It's going to be very interesting. Next year's F1 game, as I said, probably won't change that much because that's already probably fully in development. But the one after that, which is interesting, as I said in the previous video, because it's the year that the regulations change as well, and it's probably going to be, I would hope, the next big step up, because I think Cody's have said they're not changing engine for the next game. So even though it's going to be on next gen, I don't think we'll fully see the benefits of next gen and that kind of whole thing until 2022, I think, because I think Lee Mather has said in an interview that they weren't going to change engine for the next game. It'll maybe happen for the next one, or essentially, like, it's not going to be a massive change for next year. But for 2022, F1 gamers, get ready. Our world might be a little bit different, might look a little bit different, you know. We might have EA stickering, or we will have EA stickering on the F1 game, potentially, because obviously I know when EA publish Battlefield, you have the EA logo, but you have the DICE logo as well. So get ready to see Codemasters and EA together on the same game, which is going to be very, very weird. Yeah, very weird times, honestly. Let me know, like with the Take 2 one, let me know what you guys are making of the EA takeover. I know just because it's EA, there'll just be so many reactions anyway, let alone if you think about it a bit more logically. But even thinking about it logically, there are so many reasons to be a little bit cautious, a little bit worried, and just a little bit anxious about what the future of the F1 game holds. So, you know, and I'm going to be excited, I'm sure, for next year. But then after that, when this kicks in, you know, probably when you actually have some influence when the parent company of EA, what's it going to be like? No one knows at all. Like, it's going to be so weird. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy the discussion video, then hit that like button. And if you're already around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.